Ready? Good evening, everybody. Want to thank all of you for attending this evening. Want to thank our two parents that are here, our admin team, and our partners. This evening, I'm going to talk a little bit about our process in terms of renovation, and it's kind of another overview of the scope of the project, but also give an opportunity for Mr. and Mrs. Cummings to ask any questions that they want, as they are representing the entire community, along with Mr. Selhertz and all of our parents and students. So you're going to ask all the questions you want. Again, this ties into our kind of our strategic plan that we've had the last couple of years, and really trying to transform the district over the next several years. I do this because I have to. The information being presented is merely factual. District personnel are not allowed to advocate for or against the passage of the levy or bond issue during times they are being compensated by the district. And so just a reminder, we're looking in terms of, we're not going to talk a lot about finances, but we're going to review some of the things we've done over the course of the last few years. Current funding sources, and this chart really reflects the current funding sources approved by the voters and the timeline for consideration of renewals. We obviously just passed, the community passed a 2.96 mil, $20 million bond issue, which will help pay for the renovation of the Brooklyn High School complex, stadium complex, and some other things we're considering. And back in November of 2022, the community passed a emergency renewal levy, which was a no new tax initiative. Based on the dates and some of the previous passage, the board may be considering a no new tax renewal levy in 2025. And so that's the next schedule. And you can kind of see here, the next avoiding deficit levy would be considered by the end of the year 27. CY is calendar year. And then after that, another 2 years later, another avoiding deficit in 2029. So they're staggered, but all of these issues, if the board considers them, would be no new tax initiatives, which I think is very important, especially because we just passed a new money issue, but this would allow us to continue maintaining a positive 5-year forecast through 2029. One of the things that is really important, and when I got here in 2020, is just as a general question, when you go for new money or you go for a bond issue, the first question that generally comes up, and this is what I would always ask as a parent in my community: what has the district done with the current funds that you have before you come to the community asking for new money? And so to answer that question, between 2020 and into next year, we have already put an estimated $3.4, almost $3.5 million into our facilities. Some examples of projects we've done. When they built the new pre-K through 7 campus, they did not put in new furniture. Not sure why, but that's okay. But during that time, we have put in new furniture both at the pre-K through 7 and the high school. Other things, parking lots, tree trimming, just general maintenance items, but it adds up. And so over the course of the time, over those 5 years, we've been about $3.5 million. In 2023, 2022, 2023, we partnered with AVG Architectural Group in terms of a facility assessment. AVG has partnered with local school districts, Caleris, Fairview, Olmsted Falls, other districts throughout the area, and they completed a facility assessment for us. What that said at the time was, and again, this is in 2023, that if we renovated Brooklyn High School campus from top to bottom, estimated cost around $55.6 million. And that was at the time of that assessment. So it's probably escalated a little bit north of that right now. to look at some of the stadium improvements that we were looking at, about $18.2 million. And so that's that total cost of $73 million in renovation is the question that the Board of Education wrestled with for about a year and a half. One of the questions we always get is what would have been the cost of a new 7 through 12, 8 through 12 high school? Well, just that cost alone, so not including the renovation of the auditorium or the renovation of the stadium, was somewhere around $75, $76, $77 million for a new complex. So at that time, we obviously knew, okay, that's not a good alternative, a good choice for our district, for our community, and so we began to explore the options of what does a renovation look like. The board wrestled actually with a couple different figures in terms of how much would they propose to the community for a renovation, knowing that we had the cost of a renovation plus the scope of the renovation. That fluctuated, and part of the goal in the renovation was to touch as many areas at the high school and stadium complex as we could with the money. Board settled on $20 million that was presented to the voters this past March. It was passed by a whopping 8 votes. And so since March of 2024, we've been on the journey to determine, to begin the renovation project. Some things on the timeline you can see: pre-construction site survey. In the meantime, we were able to also, with some other funds, we were able to renovate our computer lab with a grant we received from the state of Ohio, and Mrs. Culleton and her team were able to facilitate that $266,000 grant, of which about $125,000 went to renovate the high school computer lab. Same time, we used federal ESSER monies to renovate the 10 restrooms at the high school. That was at a cost of about $775,000. And so that's a great start for us. We began the process of selecting and looking for our construction manager at risk, and we came to that process, finished that process within the last month and a half, and we were very happy to partner with Dunlop and Johnston in terms of facilitating our construction renovation. Some general differences between construction manager at risk and general contractor. With a construction manager at risk, which is more advantageous for the district, we're not locked into the lowest bid on any one project. And so Dunlop and Johnson will the benefit of using construction manager at risk, there's a little competition within the bidding process for the different bids and projects going on in the district. And so D&J will be able to really facilitate and create competitive bids for the district to make that $20 million go as far as we can. The goal with these projects are always to be under budget and on time, or if not earlier. So one of the things that we always look at is if we can go into be under budget, are we able to use that bond money for additional projects? And that's what would happen if we were able to be under budget with that cost. No pressure, Grant, right? No pressure. There you go, right? No pressure. We would be able to facilitate some other projects that are kind of on our punch list that we need to continue to do in the district. And I will say, this is the start of the renovation process in the district. The main difference I think we've kind of come to a conclusion on is that we will not be going back to the voters for additional bond issue money to complete the other projects. So we're going to be looking at grant opportunities general budgeting in terms of what we have going on in the district. Obviously, passages of any renewal are important in our operating costs, and so we're hoping to continue that process after our 3-year period to continue to address some of the needs. We want to eventually air condition the high school. That's going to be a process of doing that. I'm going to stop before I introduce AVG and Dunlop and Johnson, but before I do that, Mr. Neal, one of our board members, snuck in, so thank you, Mr. Neal, for being here. Any general questions about what I've presented so far? Mr. and Mrs. Cummings and Mr. Salhertz, you are the representative of all of our families tonight. Okay. I'm very happy to introduce Syed Abbas. He is the president and owner of AVG Architecture, and I just want to give him a few minutes and thank him for all of the work he's done so far. It's, when especially their group, when they partner with a school district, the work they do on the front end is not necessarily compensated in terms of all of the man hours they put in. So they've been a partner with us from the beginning. They've been a partner with us in terms of creating the vision of what we want our high school to look like. And I will say Syed and his team, they're fun to work with. They joke. They add projects without talking to me. It is really a fun process. So you can thank Syed here for the new elevator that's going to be going in a couple years. I'll just turn it over to Syed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. As Ted said, my name is Syed Abbas, and I'm one of the principals with AVG. We have a team over here. This is Murtaza Abbas. He's the project manager. Kevin Creepup is our designer with AVG. Dana is a project manager for this project. We are very blessed to be part of your vision. We appreciate Brooklyn City School for giving us this opportunity. We are excited to get started. We have already started on the design part of it, and we are working with our partners over here from D&J, and they have already given us our marching orders when they want the drawings, which we will try to finish it in time for making all the changes which Dr. Caleris is going to explain it to you. That's it. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Syed. And then now I want to introduce Randy Spencer. He's the president of Dunlop and Johnson, and part of selecting a construction manager at risk is the relationship that they have with the architect and their relationship with AVG. And we had a meeting a little while ago, and there's a give and take and a push and a pull, and it's obvious just from that interaction that both groups have a great working relationship with each other, which is only going to benefit our kids, our staff, and our community. So just want to introduce Randy and welcome him and thank him.
Good evening. As Dr. Caleris mentioned, I'm Randy Spencer with Dunlop and Johnston. I'm the president of the company. It is a family business. My wife actually works with us, could not be here this evening. We are very proud to have been chosen through a very rigorous process that the school put all of us competing construction managers through. And we only hope that in the performance of our work and our involvement with prior history with AVG, that pride comes through in the finished product. This company is celebrating its 115th anniversary in 2025, and we're very excited that this project will be a part of that. And I bring that up only because our company has a long history of doing schools construction in northeastern Ohio, and we hope to bring that history and that dedication and the pride in the finished product to the finished product. This will be a marathon. Your kids will see construction in a sense in the hallways and on the outside of the building for approximately 2 years, starting in 2025, this coming summer. But all the way through it, we hope to bring a safe project for not only your kids, but our tradespeople, men and women, and also an on-time project to guarantee that that budget gets hit. So.
You said that, I did not. So,
Anyway, we thank you. I thank you for your time and your excitement for, well, what's about to come. Thank you.
thanks, Randy. I will say very quickly, too, that we interviewed, we had a lot of talented groups, both architects and construction manager at risk to apply for this position or bid into these positions. And what both groups have in common is their ability to meet us where we need to be, and they really, from my standpoint, the customer service, the contact, the attention to detail is amazing. I was part of a meeting yesterday about auditorium rigging, right? Was that right? Yeah. Fascinating. Didn't really know a lot about what they talked about, but like the fact is all of them were here having the conversation, so those are the important things. So I want to thank both of those groups for being here and partnering with us, and they're going to be part of our family for the next 2-3 years and hopefully beyond that. Would be remiss if I didn't mention the city of Brooklyn, who really has stepped up, city council and the mayor, in helping us with our fees. I will tell you, last time when we built the pre-K through 7 complex, the district, part of the building process is building fees that go to the city. Somewhere between, Rocky, right, $300,000 to $500,000 went to the city on the last project, which could have been towards, I'll just use the furniture as an example. City of Brooklyn stepped up, mayor stepped up, and has waived all of our fees for this building project. That is going to save us $300,000, of which we can now put back into this facility for our kids, our staff, and our families. And so, thank you to them. This will be on YouTube later, but I want to make sure that we acknowledge their partnership also. Part of this process is some, in terms of the financing. I'll go quickly through this. The district was upgraded recently from A+ to AA-, and I was told that AA- is better than A+. So that will help us save money in terms of the financing. When we originally we originally did this project and proposed it, we were anticipating somewhere about 3.75 as a finance rate. We're going to be able to get 4.7 as a finance rate because of this rating. And so that's going to save our community over the long run in terms of paying this project. Going to quickly go through the scope of work. We've done this. I've done this a lot of times, and it feels like I'm memorized by now. But again, the board was adamant and really wanted to focus on touching as many areas of the high school complex as we can with the money. And I will say to you right now, there are things that we're not going to be able to do that are on our list. For example, we're not going to be able to do a complete ventilation of Brooklyn High School. However, when we're doing the auditorium, when we're doing the main gym, when we're doing the science labs, those are going to have air conditioning. So there are things that are off the list. Very upfront with that, but I feel very good about some of the projects that we're going to work through. We're going to have new canopies, new entrances at the board office, front of the high school, in the back of the main gym. This will include just a refresh of those entrances. Security will be enhanced in those areas as needed. And again, part of the philosophy here was we wanted the community to see what they were getting for their money, right? And again, it seems like a little thing in the scope of things, but our community deserves, our families deserve, our students deserve to have an updated looking facility like our pre-K through 7 campus. And these are just some of the conceptual drawings that were from way back. They have changed quite a bit, but I just still wanted to present some of these for you. Main gym, entrance back of the high school. Obviously, the auditorium, one of the showpieces of the community in the district. We are going to be completely renovating the auditorium from top to bottom. These are some of the things that are going to be addressed with this renovation. Some conceptual drawings will not have green carpeting. Right, Grant? No green carpeting? Okay. You're a money guy. Okay, all right, guess Sandy's picking the carpet. We'll be redoing the cafeteria floor. We'll be redoing the terrazzo floor. That terrazzo floor is really pretty rare in school these days, and so we'll be restoring that terrazzo to its original shine, so to speak. You can see kind of the current status there. We'll be getting new railings to code throughout the high school. Again, this is going to help us save on some energy costs down the road, so new windows throughout the high school, board office, treasurer office. You can see the current state of some of our windows. Talked about the restrooms already. New computer lab, which we've talked about. So looking at this is another shot of the renewed, refreshed computer lab. This is actually our esports area, and again, all of this cost was approximately $125,000, but it was facilitated through the work of the CTE grant and the work of Mrs. Culleton out of our Career Development and Innovation Office. Looking at refreshing and renovating our band and choir areas, you can see that all of the things associated with the renovation of our music wing, which will also include accessible ramp for our students and staff with any mobility issues. Here is a conceptual drawing of the band room, a conceptual drawing of our choir room. Moving on to the high school science floor, science labs. These are original labs of the high school. They are in dire need of renovation. We actually have 4 labs at the high school, 3 of which will be renovated during this process. The 4th lab was actually renovated in the mid-2000s, so we're going to not have to renovate that lab. But again, looking to advance and to make sure our kids have accessible to all the latest needs with regards to science and STEM education. And looking at here are some conceptual drawings of our science labs. Moving on to our gym, if anybody remembers, you walk into that gym in August, it is an inferno. Part of the renovation will include adding air condition to the main gym. Only thing not being renovated in the gym are the floor. Floor is actually in really good shape. We're going to repaint it, refinish it, and the back Brooklyn Hurricane wall will be remaining. Everything else will receive something new painting, new bleachers, new basketball backboard system, new sound system, sound panels, complete renovation of the main gym. Some conceptual drawings of the new gymnasium. We will lose a little bit of a seating with the new bleachers, but it'll be a very minor adjustment compared to the current capacity. Looking at the stadium renovation, we have some foundational work that needs to happen on our home stands. Looking at sealant and painting and things like that. Looking at new lighting, we will be renovating the concession, visiting, and home locker rooms, along with installation of a new scoreboard at some point. Very happy to report that the district received $250,000 in an NFL grant, and so that has escalated our timeline for renovation and replacement of the field. You can see a kind of a drawing here of what the new field's going to look like. That will be paid not through bond issue money, but through our general fund that we've been saving up over the last 5 years, and that's $250,000. In addition to the field renovation, we're also going to be redoing the long jump area, shot put, and discus area for track and field. If you look to the left there, you'll be able to see two paths that we're going to be creating, two walking paths that will connect to the city walking paths in Memorial Park and will traverse the entire property up at Hurricane Alley. So for individuals that are looking for walking paths, we'll now be able to connect to the city to help our community. The Early Childhood Preschool Center, this is part of our transition. When they built the pre-K through 7 campus, not sure if they built enough classrooms, but we're looking for some extra space in our pre-K through 7. We have the opportunity to move into the existing Brooklyn Library on Ridge Road, and so starting in September 2025, this will be our new Early Childhood Preschool Center and Family Resource Center. Looking at some of the renditions of the Early Childhood Center, you can see here a new entranceway for our preschoolers. A couple pictures here of some classrooms, renovated classrooms. And also, this will be the home of our new board meetings, but also we're creating a community room which we can facilitate meetings and have groups use. So we're hoping that the community will take advantage of this large meeting area moving forward, but we're really excited about this whole process. New playground. And some timelines. This has shifted a little bit since I put this in there. I will say the first project we're going to do will be next year, starting with the windows. We'll begin the windows at the high school, and we will do the main gym renovation starting in June of 2025 through December of 2025, with the anticipation of opening up the new main gym in January of 2026. Obviously, we have to accommodate some movements and things like that, but that's going to be kind of part of the uncomfortable process of this. Kind of big projects we're looking at in coming in 2026. We're going to be doing the auditorium, music wing, science labs, elevator a little bit later after that, and then stadium will be the last project we do from November of 26 through that following spring, right before graduation 2027. Talked a lot about kind of some things planning. Again, we want to hit other areas of the complex. We want to look at our main office at the high school. We want to look at classroom renovations. We want to look at some of the ceilings. So there'll be additional things that we budget for and we work towards after 2027. And that being said, I want to thank you for being here. Any questions? Yes.
How long does a football turf normally last?
We did. So we're on year 10. We replaced it in 2014. Those fields are 10 to 14 years. So it's time. If we didn't get the grant, I was hoping to replace it in 2 more years. So 25, 26. So fall of 27, we would have opened with a new field. With this new field, we're going to budget for a 12-year replacement. So we're going to start taking a little bit of money every year over the next 12 years, so that 12 years from now, there's a pot of money for that replacement. The great things about these fields is you don't have to maintain them, you don't have to do any of those things. The bad thing about those fields is I got a pretty big bill due in about 12 years. And so the cost of the new field with the track renovations is going to be about $646,000. Not going to impact us whatsoever, but it's a big bill. You can imagine what that's going to look like in 12 years, probably north of $700,000.
Do we plan for our stadium to ever have capacity or capability, I guess, for a real track meet? I feel like we haven't had like the long jump and the things that we don't normally have here.
Yeah, so that's what, so in the renovation this summer, they're redoing the long jump pit, shot area, disc area. Right, so the current long jump pit on the side by that grass area, We're getting rid of that. It's going to be on the north side of the field. So, up there, north side, right above Brooklyn, that's going to be the long jump pit. And then we're going to redo the shot and the disc area. For some reason, in the last field, they put in a pole vault. That currently that area is a pole vault pit. We don't have pole vault. At least I don't think we've had it for a while. So we're just going to convert that to long jump. We're here for you, so we're good.
Okay, so I feel as a parent, literally they come to these meetings during that renovation. We kind of built for that time. I don't feel like we built for the future.
Yeah.
We built that building.
Yeah, I would agree with it, yeah.
Do we feel that what we're doing now, we're building for the future?
Yeah, because I think we have capacity at the high school to add students. I will say with a lot of confidence. We're not running out of classroom space. I would love to have a conversation at some point if we got to that piece. I don't see that happening anymore. We fluctuate between 1150 and 1200 students over the last 5 years. Back in the heyday, 13, 14, we were probably right around the 1400 mark as a district, and we were still pretty good. So I think we still have room to go from a student population without it impacting classrooms. I would say at Mr. Bowen's building, that's not the case. I would agree with you. We don't have a lot of swing space in that building, and so when the opportunity came up to take over the library, turn that into another building, it was kind of that perfect storm. We need those 3-4 classrooms over, and that's gonna our title, our ELL, some of those subjects, those teachers are going to be able to move into their own space, private space, without having to use the pod areas.
Do you have a place for the elevator?
We do.
Lounge?
We do. It's going to be right behind the current lift. Yeah. Mr. Sahlhertz? You're good? Okay. All right, well, we'll stick around if anybody else has any questions. Thank you for being here. Have a great night. Thank you.